No matter how brilliant your mind or strategy, if you're playing a solo game, you'll always lose out to a team. No matter how good you are, if you're playing the game alone, you'll always lose to somebody playing against you with the team. I'm gonna walk you through something that we had to do, Sean, my wife, and myself. My wife, she just like, honey, get your purse, talking to me. Honey, get your purse and get in the office, kind of a situation. And she said, you've never done this, we've got to do this. We got to figure out, now that you got rid of all these people, we got to replace them, but we're not just gonna hire any person from the street. We're not just gonna bring in, you've already just brought in, hey, you'll work, find a spot. We're gonna actually dial in and get the right people this time so that we don't have to go through this mess again. Now I say that, Raheem talked this morning about Mark Cuban, so who knows what messes we're gonna go through, I can't wait to see the episode of Maury Povich with Jerry Jones on it. I don't know about you guys. I can't wait to see how that pans out, right? We're always gonna go through something, but we went through this exercise figuring out what it is, and some of you may already know this. I look around the room. Most of you, I think, probably haven't thought this deep about this, and it'll really help you because we're here to grow. We want to meet people, and we want to network, and we want to learn sales and marketing, hiring, training, all these things that we need, but we're here to make more money and grow. One of the things that Sean and I came to the revelation of in the last month is we've been trying to convince people to become better. Hey, Adam, you want to become the greatest version of yourself? Sounds great. Sign me up, Stewman. Okay, man, get your ass in the gym. Stop not showing up for your family. Invest your money wisely. Dude, man, geez, I don't want it that bad. Nobody driving down Plano Parkway right now behind the wheels going, if I could just become the greatest version of myself, all my problems would go away. That's not what they're doing. The conversation in their head is, I need more money. I got bills, economy's this, I need more money. And so we've been selling like the hardest thing possible. Sounds good on paper until I'm like, Brandon, get in the gym. What gym? Right? I know you don't have a problem getting in the gym. I can see your back through that t-shirt when I was sitting behind you. But that's the thing. Most people, they don't want to do that, It was hard this morning, wasn't it? That's my everyday, bro. Alex always shows up and works out with me when he comes into town. And every time he's like, dude, I thought you were going to kill me this morning, But that's what it takes. Everybody in my family is overweight. If I don't step into it and hit it that hard, I'm going to look like them. And I don't think that's not the vision I have for the greatest version of myself. But most people won't get there until they make money, and then they'll want to become a better person if we're lucky. So we're like, hey, rule number one, we're going to make money, okay? That's what we're here to do. That's what I'm going to bring these guests in to help you guys out with. But that comes with building your team because none of you guys are here to do this alone. That's the level below you. That's the entrepreneurs. Those are the self-employed people. We got to figure out how to grow and scale with employees. For me, I can make $3 million a year by myself. By myself, I've done it. I've proven it multiple years in a row, but that's my cap. That's my cap. That's the most that I can make. And there's nothing wrong with $3 million a year. That's good money. It's paid for a lot of things for me, but that's not going to make the impact that I want. If I'm going to truly impact the world, I need to make more money than that, which means I need more people because I've only got so much time. I have a mentor a long time ago named Kevin Nations. And Kevin told me that if I'll just get a few clients, charge them a lot of money, get to know them all, I can make a few $1 million a year and everything will be easy for me. No assistant needed, no office needed. And I said, man, I want to change the world. And he said, I wouldn't do it if I were you. You're going to get hundreds of employees, you're going to get thousands of clients, and it's going to drive you crazy. And he was right? But that's the calling I have on my life. That's the calling everybody in this room has, is to do something greater than ourselves. And if our vision and our goal isn't big enough for the others to fit their vision and goal inside of it, then we're not going to attract A players. We're going to attract C players and Z players, right? If we have a $1 million goal, we're going to attract minimum wage and $40,000 a year people. It just is what it is because that $1 million goal is not big enough, not for us and them. So the first thing that we got to do is we got to develop our core team. The C stands for culture. Man, I feel like I'm by nature a culture creator. If you look around this place, some of y'all have never been upstairs, but you go upstairs, there's music playing. It's upbeat music. If you look around the walls everywhere, it's motivational plaques, and not the crap that we used to see in the high school principal, with the water drop that would be like motivation. Y'all remember those old pictures of the lion, intimidation, or whatever, like the jaguar pictures and stuff? Some of y'all are a little young and y'all are like, what the hell is he talking about? But just the old ones know, especially those of us who've been to principal's office. And so, that we have our core values up there. Almost everywhere you go upstairs, there's something that's motivational, right? Something to build culture, right? Culture also comes from communication. Right? How do you talk to your people? The part of culture is communication, communicating your core values. A lot of us have them up here, and I drive this home every single event. A lot of us have core values up here, but we're not telling our team what that means. That's why we don't just have, responsibility, integrity, service, excellence. We have what it means, our definition, not the definition, our definition of it, so that when I talk to them, it's like, hey, when you take responsibility, what does that mean? So if Sean, for example, starts giving me excuses like, hey, that's not responsibility. That's not our definition of it. That doesn't fit into our culture, right? So we communicate. When Taylor texts me earlier, I go upstairs when I got the break, and I'm like, bro, I'm so proud of you, man. I knew you had it in you, dude. We're ultimately, if you think about it, I learned this from my wife, we're dad. That's all we are. We're dad and mom, right? We're raising kids. And I'm good at raising kids. I never looked at it that way, but I am good. Sammy will tell you, I'm good at raising kids. Anybody that's been around my kids, they always say the same thing. Wow, your children are so well behaved. First of all, they're scared to death of dad. But second of all, they're still at an age where I can take all of them, I'm sure of it. But second of all, they respect me because I've always kept it real with them, and I'm trying to actually cultivate them. So I start treating these employees the way that I would treat my kids. I don't, my kid, hey, hurry up and get ready. I might yell at Asher this morning, but first of all, I'm an intense guy. That's the way that I move, right? And if we need urgency, we got to have intensity. But I'm also this compassionate, caring guy. You can't tell from my voice, but I'm this compassionate, caring guy. And I go upstairs and I'm like, man, I'm just proud of you. Taylor played in the NFL. The way to talk to a guy like that, he had coaches. The way to talk to a guy like that is just be the coach, be that dad, that father figure. I'm watching Club Shay Shay the other day with Johnny Manziel. And Johnny, I know him. I've got his phone number on my phone. We've talked a few times over the years. He's a Texan. I'm a Texan. Really cool guy, Johnny Football. And he says, when my dad dropped me off with the coach at A&M, he said, I'm letting you raise my son from this point on. That's what his dad said to the coach in front of him, right? That's when these people come into our doors, they're leaving their parents, they're leaving their wives, and it's our job to raise them from this point on. They're getting dropped off at our door as an employee, and it's our job to raise them, to make them better humans. Because the better human they are, the better they're going to perform. The better they understand the mission, the better you communicate with them, the more you're going to get out of them. They're here to be a part of a family. Yeah, we're a family and blah, blah, blah. And, somebody the other day said, you just kick people out of the family. It's like, look, if my family comes over and they steal my silverware, they can't come over no more, But we're a family. That's what we've got to do, is treat them that way. But I get on to my family sometimes. We got to, or they don't get disciplined, right? I motivate an urgency and put intensity behind my family. I'm raising men. I'm not raising, guys that don't have whether they're here, and I lump men and women together, whether they're my kids or whether they're my employees, I'm raising men. We got to have thick skin. We're in sales. We're in personal development. We have to have thick skin. So we have to create this culture. The culture here is, it's a culture of excellence. We always say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I tell my sales guys all the time, hey man, you're trying to jump in with them too quick. Get to know them. Talk to them, find out what their problem is before yes, you know what their problem is 30 seconds into the call because you've heard 10,000 calls at this point, but get to know what Tony's deal is, get to know what Tim's deal is, get to know what he wants out of his life and show him how that product can fix that as opposed to interrupting him and trying to hurry up and get on to the next lead. The next thing is have an organization. You got to organize your business, okay? Me over the years as a solopreneur and entrepreneur, it's just like, hey man, I need a job. Good, I need an employee. Come in, we'll figure out where you fit. Hey, I'm a good salesman. Cool, come on, I need salespeople. Hey, I know how to do accounting. Come on, cool, I need an accountant, right? No, we got to have some organization. Then they show up who reports to who. right? Who's managing who? Who's leading who? Who's responsible for who? Who's responsible for what? If you come in and you're the social media manager and now all of a sudden I got you running videos and sending emails and doing copyright, and it's like, bro, I'm just a social media manager. You put all this pressure on me. I know. I've lost 3 great social media managers because of that. Adam comes in here and he's like, dude, I'm really good at Facebook. Awesome. Now I need you to write emails. I need you to make a landing page. Dude, I can't do all this stuff that Ryan put on me. I got to quit this job. And I'm like, dude, why did you tap out, man? We were just getting started. You know, it's like, I don't know how to do those things. I was too scared to tell you because you yell a lot. So you got to have some organization. You know, we had Grant Cardone's top producer come work for us 6, 7, 8 months ago. He came in here and I told one of my sales guys who's no longer with us, hey, train this guy. Okay, cool. Grant's top producer, he's clearly got a little bit of, something. He sold something, And I called Grant, said, hey, man, I'm going to hire this guy. You cool? Just like I called Andy Elliott before I hired Sean. That's what the right thing to do. Try not to burn bridges. Sometimes they get burned anyway. But called Grant. Grant's like, call my HR people. Called his HR people. They said, well, we got to talk to Grant. So I just talked to Grant. They said, yeah, no, but we got to do the paperwork thing. They gave me permission to hire the guy. I hired the guy. Okay, Drewby, go train this guy. He goes, trains the guy, but he didn't train him because he was scared that this guy might be better than him and end up losing the guy. He said he did. I expected that he did, but he didn't and ended up losing that guy. And the guy leaves. I'm like, why are you leaving? He goes, nobody even helped me while I was here. What? Then I realized, yeah, because he was scared that you were going to pass him up. It's too late by that point. The guy went and got a job for a credit repair company. So we got to have organization. Drewby, God bless him, he wasn't a sales trainer. He wasn't top producer here either. I shouldn't have had him in that, but I had no organization. I'm like, okay, you need a job. You know how to do the job. You guys go figure it out. So I can go back to work because we're busy as CEOs, right? I put unduly pressure on 2 people and neither one of them are here anymore, but it's because we didn't have any organization for the way that it's structured. Now, Sean hires somebody. He's in charge of training them. He's in charge of building that culture. He's in charge of putting this stuff into them. Now I have somebody specifically for that position I didn't have before. The next thing is results, right? We have this whole team because we want the results of what it is that they're supposed to do. We're here to get results. You're here to get results of making more money, learning how to sell your business, networking with people. That's the result that you want here, becoming a better person. In this company, the results of the social media guy is to get us, this week, we got 1 million views on TikTok, right? From like 3 or 4 or 5 videos, whatever that number is. But this week, in a week, we got 1 million views on TikTok. The results that I want from Cade is 3 shorts on YouTube a day, 1 reel on Instagram a day. I want them to watch stories, right? Like these guys, I used to get onto them. Hey man, why aren't you shooting this? Why aren't you doing this? They're like, dude, you move so fast. We don't know where you are. So you know what I did for them? I went and got the security camera plug-in for their office. And so now they can see the security cameras that Sean and I see. So every time they see me walk out of the office, one of them takes off with a camera behind me. I ain't got to go get them. Because I like life being captured. I'm not the guy that's like, come on, record me on video. Be cool. I just want you to capture me naturally, right? But I had a hard time going in there. Tony, grab the video. Let's go. Because I'm going to go talk to Sean. I'm just going to go talk to Sean. I don't want to take a step aside to go do that. So I just set them up with the camera. Now they watch me everywhere I go. Our camera tracks movement. So they're up there. Oh, there he goes. When I went and talked to Taylor, Brandon's behind me. I was like, you ain't got to record this. You can, but you ain't got to. Let me talk to him. So we want these results, clearly communicated results, and execution, like how they do their job to get those results. So once you have this core team identity, you have culture, you have organization, they know the results that are required and how to execute and what to execute on to be able to get that. We got to identify what the positions are we need in our company. First, you got CEO, that's us, or Amy now, right? I tell everybody now that Sean's operations and Amy is the CEO, I'm just the dancing bear, as Derek calls us. I'm just the guy in front of the camera and on the stage, which has been my dream all along. I didn't want to run a business. I didn't. I just wanted to be a guy that helped people. And then I ended up running a business and I'm like, well, now that's taken away from my ability to help people, and that wasn't my whole goal in the first place, right? But I never thought I need a CEO, because when I started my first LLC, what do you put as your title on there? CEO. So that's who I am. But that's never what I wanted to be. I wanted to be what I'm doing right now, a teacher. But there's no organizational chart for a teacher, right? There's no CEO, COO, HR teacher. That doesn't exist in any organizational chart, but that's what I am. So I needed to find who's gonna be my CEO. My wife's Series 63, Series 7, super smart, very communicative, great PR firm inside of her head. Sean's operations, he sales, he understands what needs to be done to get executed. I'll just make her CEO and I'll make Sean COO. Easy problem solved. I just remove myself from a job altogether. The next thing is you have a CFO. Our CFO is a guy named Dave. He's been with me for 6 years. He works remotely. He manages all of our stuff, spreadsheet wizard. Problem is, with Dave, he has a hard time keeping up with me. But my wife doesn't because she knows my every move because I call her on the way home. I talk to her when I'm home and talk to her on date night. So her and Dave working together is 10 times better than me and Dave working together. You know, I go upstairs, look in my office, there's 3 pieces of paper. What's this, what's this, what's this? Never had that before. It's my car payment, my house payment in Little Elm, John's house, and a bank account I didn't know that I had. That happens to me a lot, you know. When you buy cars, sometimes the credit union makes you put money in the bank account, and then I'll like sell the car and forget that I put the money in there. She's like, that's a lot of money, you should get it out. I was like, we should, I didn't know that was in there. But now these 3 people run the company, plus the chief marketing officer. That's Monaco back there, okay? I have Brandon doing social media. I have Cade running the video. Those guys are head down doing work. Do you know what it's like to run my social media? 180,000 fans on Facebook, you know, 300,000 fans on Instagram, you know, 200,000 person email list, probably 150, 200,000 people on TikTok, 50, 60,000 people on LinkedIn. Can you imagine the amount of DMs? And that's not counting the page that I run. I run my own personal stuff. So Facebook group, Apex Sales Talk, Apex 2, Apex 3, Small Business Big Thinkers. Like, dude, we have a ton of social media presence. And Brandon's like, I don't have time to think about what's next. I'm trying to deal with all this stuff and send leads to the sales team and everything else. So I needed an organizer. I never did that before. Instead, I'm like, Cade, why don't you do videos and emails and this? And he's like, bro, I'm only one man. I got 2 VAs. We still can't keep up. Brandon, why don't you do this? I'm only one man. I got so much. What do you do with your time? I don't have time. Now we got somebody who can take a look back and go, okay, here's what I need you to get. Here's what I need you to do. Then we have HR. HR is a third party for us as well. And, you know, we don't tell anybody about HR so they don't complain. Cheat code. Tony told me a story one time that he got HR in his company and a lady sent a letter to the HR upset because there was no refrigerator in her office. Did you fire that person? Great job, sir. But HR for us, they do our payroll, they do our new hire packets, they do our company contracts, NDAs, all this stuff that we just had done. They, if we need them to recruit somebody, they give us candidates of people that we can interview and recruit. And so you've got to have these positions. But here's the problem. If we're running a lean startup, which most of us aren't here, then we may not have CEO money to pay somebody. You know, we may not have COO money to pay somebody. Sean's not cheap, right? Cade, none of these people are cheap. The CMO's not cheap. HR's not cheap. You know, everybody that we hire, it's a few $100s for them to set it up and then a few $100s a month for them to manage. And you times that by 10, 15, 20 people across a few companies, and now that's a $5,000, $6,000 a month job too. You know, especially if you got people coming and going and people that you use short term and people that you know, because I think there's probably 30 people on our payroll, Sean, somewhere around that between all the companies that we run, because we got 3 people at Closer Capital, 13, 14 people at Break Free Academy, which is Apex. Then we have, you know, 2, 3 people, 4 or 5 people at Phone Site. So it starts to add up pretty quick. So that gets expensive too. No matter how brilliant your mind or strategy, if you're playing a solo game, you'll always lose out to a team. No matter how good you are, if you're playing the game alone, you'll always lose to somebody playing against you with the team. Now, in the beginning, you might have a CEO like Amy that can run all of them, right? You might have a guy like Sean. Sean just runs Break Free Academy, okay? At Closer Capital, I have Taylor, not Taylor that you guys know, but Taylor, the woman. And she is basically the COO of Closer Capital. And for right now, I'm the CEO, right? And I'm the CMO because I'm the guy that makes it rain leads over there, right? But yes, that's what we're ultimately working into with multiple companies, right? Because our whole goal, if there's 4 levels of business, right? Employee, self-employed, CEO, and owner, our whole goal is to get to owner to where, the old metaphoric, work on the business, not in the business. So your whole goal is to reverse engineer your exit. It doesn't have to be a private equity exit, but your exit from the day-to-day operations. Or better said, your exit from the shit you don't want to do, right? That's a better way of putting it. Maybe not exit from the company, but I like writing, I like speaking, I like making videos, I like doing podcasts and interviews with people. All the rest of the stuff can go to hell, I don't care. Let me find somebody else who can do that for me. So the CEO's responsibility, right? I got to run the COO, Sean's boss, me and Jennifer. CFO, I got to be in charge of Dave, right? And now this actually, I forget now that Amy's doing this. So Amy's running Sean. She's dealing with Dave. She meets with Monaco. She actually hired Monaco for us, right? He's been a friend of ours for a while and has done some really big events around and done some really big personalities, social media and big companies like World Ventures, social media. She went out and found that person and she said, I know our guy, let me bring him in here. And she deals with HR, right? So those people are the only people that Amy deals with. Amy's not going and dealing with Taylor Rivas. She's not dealing with Taylor Simak. By the way, this guy's worked for me for 3 freaking years, and I've been calling him Taylor Simarak for 3 years. And one day, Sasser goes, that's not his name, did you? No, I didn't know that. He goes, his name's Simank. And I'm like, this guy for 3 years never corrected me. And he goes, well, you're kind of a scary guy. I'm like, dude. He played in the NFL. Would have thought he would have been like, listen, dude, that's not my name, right? So this just happened 2 weeks ago, by the way. My whole world was destroyed. He's like, there's not even an R in this guy's name. You just added it in there. I'm like, okay, that's my bad. Taylor Simank it is. But she doesn't deal with the sales team. She's not going in there and correcting them, coaching them. She's dealing with these people right here and giving them direction to what needs to be done in their organization, right? A COO at a startup is like a doctor in an emergency room, constantly fixing things, triaging and diagnosing issues to determine if they're minor or potentially fatal. You feel that way, Sean? Right? You're being pulled a million ways to make sure that nobody dies. That's the COO's job. Operating room, the analogy there, to make sure nobody dies. This guy came in here and he chopped so much unneeded stuff from overhead employees to our Amex bill was $200,000 to $300,000 a month. For the last 2 months, it's been no more than 50 grand. Because one guy came in here and he's like, dude, let's don't let this thing die. Let me go operate on some things. Let me get pulled a million ways, right? But he's responsible for sales. Right? He's got to go recruit these guys. He's got to train these guys. He's got to help them. And dude, I'm telling you, we have the best sales team we've ever had upstairs right now. Right? For 3 years, I've been telling Drewby and Blake and Zach, hey man, we need to sell these digital products. Digital products, I love Apex, but digital products are the easiest fad. They're like crack, okay? And what I mean by that, somebody joins Apex, well, you got it all. Right? That's Frank Kern's fault. In 2016, I went to Frank Kern's house, and funny story, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Wes Watson, he's on Instagram one day, and he's like, yeah, man, I just bought this house. These are my koi fish. I paid $3 million for them. And I'm like, that's Frank's house. That's not his house. It's literally Frank. Frank rents that guy. The guy that owns that house is the assistant to Obama. Right? He's the secretary advisor to financial economic reform to Obama. He owns 5 houses in that neighborhood, and there's only 8 houses in there. Frank rented that house for 3 years. That guy said he'd never sell that. I know it's a $50 million house. I know for a fact, but I went to this, and I'm just laughing about that, but I went to Frank's house and sat down in there, and Frank said, here's what I want you to do. This is how Apex was born, by the way. We used to just sell digital products. And Frank goes, you're going to give all your digital products away for one-time monthly fee. And it was $287 a month was his idea, because everything on the internet ends in a 7. And that's Frank's doing as well, by the way. And I'm like, man, he goes, well, you're gonna lose money from up front charging $1,000 for a product, but if you can keep your people, then you're gonna make more money in the long term. Okay, Frank, I'm an action taker. I listen, I go do that. We start giving everything away. We called it Break Free Academy Entourage. This was prior to Apex, obviously. And it evolved into Apex. And so from that point, we really didn't sell digital products. And I'm always trying to get these guys, hey man, we need to go back to doing that. You know, somebody, you want to buy a digital product for $1,000, $1,500, it costs me nothing. I don't have to feed you. I don't have to have overhead. I don't have to turn the lights on. And I give you an email and a login and it stays there. It's done forever, right? So I've been telling these guys, the elevator to the top method is they buy a $99 product. They get results from it. They come back and they buy a $399 product. They get results from it. Then they can join Apex. If they're starting, especially if they're low on money, then they can get the things that they want to be able to join Apex. I couldn't get the guys to do it. They all want to be, thanks to Dan Locke, they all want to be high ticket closers. And a $99 product and a high ticket closer. But my whole theory on everything is money on every call. There's an ask for every seat. There's a budget that you might, oh, I don't got $3,000, but do you got 99? What's your budget? You're talking to Ryan Stewman's company. What did you show up with? What was your budget when you showed up to this call? Surely you expected to spend something. I mean, I got a couple $100. Cool, let me put something together for you. Name, login, problem solved, right? So we start doing that. I couldn't ever get these guys to come do that. Sean's come in here, train these new guys. Man, they're selling $20,000 worth of digital products a day right now. And what that does is that allows us to screen. We don't need the Apex money. So that allows us to screen people to make sure that they're an action taker, they're getting results so that by the time they get in here, they understand our culture. They've built their machine so they don't need to rely on this network, the problems that we were having getting solved. Support team, right? I lost my login and password. Number one support ticket that we get, you know, right? How do I do this click thing again, John, right? That's how it goes. But Sean's in charge of making support as easy as possible. Jordan, my guy that's the COO for phone sites, that's his job, running the support team, making sure there is no sales team for phone sites. So he runs the support, make sure that the support's getting done. Customer needs help, we're there to help them. We do it with VAs at phone sites. Tech, right? Hey, what technology do we need? That's why Robin was just here. Sean comes in and he goes, dude, you have 50 products that can be solved with one. Let me show you how to run this. The CMO, so he's over the head of marketing as well, and HR, right? A leader in a company is the modern CFO needs to propel a culture of security. No longer is our job just about revenue, costs, and budgets. There's a strong emphasis on managing risk, driving performance, ensuring the integrity and accuracy of company information. Byron, you know, how can a guy predict and plan for the future if he doesn't know what he has right now in his reserves? You know, you go and talk to the entrepreneur or entourage group and you ask them, hey man, you know, what's your EBITDA? What language is that? It's French? You know, hey man, what was your profit and loss last month? Well, I mean, we made 30 grand. Okay, what was your bottom line? Bottom line is we made 30 grand. What the hell you asked me twice for, right? Am I wrong? 90% of the people that are in that position, right? But if you don't know what you're making, you could be thinking, you know, Jason, you could think I had $100,000 month, but you didn't know that, you know, 99,000 of that went out the door for your expenses and things that you know, like right now we're doing an event with Jeremy Miner. And by the way, if you haven't got your sales team tickets to that, like get with our people. Jeremy is I love Andy Elliott's sales style. It's very hardcore and aggressive. I like Grant Cardone's finesse sales style. Jeremy is a different breed of human. This guy, the way he slows the process down, then he's so nice and friendly and well thought out. His NEPQ sales style is something I've never seen before. He's not just some sort of gimmick. This dude's he's got a master's in neuroscience. He's not some dumb sales guy whatsoever. And he does crazy numbers, y'all. I'm not gonna just divulge the amount of money that this guy makes in his company, but he does crazy numbers because of for his company, what he does. Sales trains AT&T, huge global companies. I mean, he'll go speak at conferences with 15, 20,000 people because that's how many employees the company has that hired him, just to give you an idea. And so I say that because we're running an event with him, which means half of the ticket cost minus fees and everything else, I got to split with him. So I might think, yeah, we made $100,000 in sales and that's the top line. But after I paid Jeremy and his team, it might be $20,000, $30,000 left over. But what if I spent $100,000 thinking that's my top line, and then all of a sudden I'm in debt to Jeremy because I didn't save his money? That's a great example of what happens if you don't know your numbers. You think you got all this money, but then you owe it here and there because you're not managing it correctly. That's why the CFO is so important. These are your accountants, right? One thing that I do, now Amy does it, is every week I meet with the bookkeeper. 30, 45 minutes every week. Here's what I spent. Here's what came in. I got a lot of one-off, like, if it's $3 or $5 grand a month and it's for entourage, or if it's for executives, or if it's for entrepreneur. But I might have something that's $1347 and they're like, what's this? And they might assume they know what it is, but it might have been, a watch I sold. It might have been, an old bank account I didn't know that I had. They might tax me on that money if I'm not communicating with them because they don't know what I'm up to, A lot of you don't have set prices. So if you're not communicating, they may not, one of the things that hit me that I'm working with to get big tax refund right now is I flip homes, a lot of them. And I flip homes, and when you flip a home for cash, they send you a 1099. I flip homes, I don't flip cheap homes, I flip $1 million homes. I got 1099s for $2 million, $2.5 million. They didn't know that I didn't make that money. I might have put 2.1 million in it and got 2.3 out of it. And they were paying, if I don't communicate with them, then I'm gonna be paying taxes on $2.3 million when I only made 200 grand to that, right? I might have borrowed money from Sammy and Sammy loaned me 300 grand. And if I'm not communicating with them, they might put that as an income instead of a loan. Right? And so I have to communicate with them every week so they know where every dollar's going so that I don't pay more to the IRS. That's all I care about, right? It's not so much about what I keep as I damn sure don't want Uncle Sam's hands in my pocket any more than he's already got them. So the next thing, same with your bookkeeper, right? Accountants, your CPA, bookkeeper is the person I'm really more referencing here. QuickBooks, talk to them about everything so that when the accountant prepares the books to go to the CPA, they're there and it costs, the more you're gonna make your CPA work, they're expensive. If you can do more work with your accountant who's like a lawyer and paralegal, think of it that way. The more work you can do with the paralegal, the less you're gonna have to pay that hourly fee. The more you can do with the cheap bookkeeper, the better the accountant's paperwork's gonna be so they can look at it, just kind of double check it, and then you're out for a couple grand instead of 30, 40 grand to file a tax return if it's a big one like mine. CPA, same thing. The bankers, okay? I also talk to my bankers really often. I got a call with them as soon as we get off stage here today. Hey, should I get a line of credit? Hey, do I need to diversify my accounts? The way that I have, if you have multiple companies, I recommend you do this setup too. I have something called a zero balance account. So I have Break Free Academy, Hardcore Closer, Phone Sites, Closer Capital, a couple other accounts. At the end of the night, all the money comes from those accounts and sweeps into one big account. All those accounts say zero balance, and the big account has the numbers from all of them. When I write a check out of Break Free Academy or swipe the credit card for Break Free Academy, it draws out of the main account, goes through Break Free Academy, and pays out. What that does is that allows me to know what company spent where and manage it all from one account so I don't have to transfer in between accounts if I need something. It keeps it smooth, it keeps it clean. Here's the best part of that. The big account has a big balance in it. The others are zero balance, so the big account has a big balance in it, and I can get a line of credit against that big account as opposed to getting a bunch of smaller lines of credits against other accounts. Line of credit right now is 4%. That's cheap. It's cheap money. You'd be a fool to spend your own money if you got the right banker. And then the CFOs make sure that people have their insurance, 401ks, benefits, things of that nature. I know a lot of us are maybe not against 401ks. I like them. I max mine out every year and I max my IRA out every year. 56 grand. I put, 7% of my income into a 401k. Here in a few years, I'll have enough money in that thing again. I've already done it once before to start buying property through there instead of stocks. You can buy crypto through your 401k and IRA right now too, which is a great idea because Bitcoin is on a bull run. So is Ethereum, And so We'll call 401k benefits. A lot of times we try to make benefits and we think, I offered all my young guys, hey, y'all want insurance? Nah, boss, we're cool. I paid all this money for us to have insurance benefits. Nah, man, we're cool. I'll just die. Okay. When you're young, you don't care. You know what I mean? When you're in your 20s, you're like, I don't need insurance. I'm going to live forever. But other benefits can be, and you can set up accounts for this, is we just did this in the Build Your Team program. We had a guy who he likes to hire parents, and the way that he offers benefits to the parents that he hires is he offers to pay for their kids' college. So if Hamza here has an 11-year-old kid, I'm gonna pay for his college as long as Hamza's with me. So if his kid's 11, I got 7 years before he goes off to college, and I can put in $500-600 a month into this deal. The average 4-year degree is $100,000. He's gonna have to stay employed 7 years to be able to access that for his 11-year-old kid. And then he's gonna have to work for me for another 4 years, which is 11 years total for me to pay for that. Then it costs me $500 or $600 a month, which is cheaper than health insurance anyway, and a lot more important to parents if that's your target. And that's just an example, but thinking of what are the benefits that my people really need. Maybe it ain't insurance. Maybe it ain't retirement. You got a bunch of young people, they don't care about retirement. It's 40 years from now. They should, but they don't. You got parents working for you, they care about their kids though, right? What is another thing that you could think of? Like, look at your people, analyze your people, and think, what is that benefit that I can give them that'll make them stick? That'll make them, hey, if I screw this job up, my kid's out of a free college scholarship. Meanwhile, you put that money into an interest-bearing account every month. You're putting it in your pocket. You're keeping the dividend off of it. Or maybe you let it grow, and then the next person, you don't have to pay in $500 a month. Be thinking of innovative ways to offer true benefits, not just traditional ones. And payroll. Marketing exists to serve our consumer one at a time, the CMO of Nike. CMO's responsibility, he's over the ads team, make sure the ad stuff is correct. Over the marketing team, right? The organic stuff that we do. I look at ads as an exchange of dollars for attention. That's what an ad is for me. The exchange of dollars for attention. Marketing are the pieces of material that you use to get that attention, but marketing's free. Marketing can be flyers, Facebook posts, all that. Ads is only the exchange of attention for money, right? So the marketing team, the media team, videos, YouTube, editing, all this stuff, okay? That's what your CMO's over. If you've never read the book by Patty McCord here, the name of the book, it's a red book. I can't remember the name of it. You can find it on Amazon. It's a red book with white lettering like Netflix used to look like, and it's by Patty McCord. She is the #1 HR person on the planet, and that book teaches you how to hire people, the right benefits to offer them, because she's recruiting Netflix against Google, Facebook, legacy companies, right? So she's got to go get top talent, and she tells you in this book how to recruit A players, how to retain them, how to take care of them, what benefits to offer them. It's one of the best books on running a company and retaining people I've ever read. But she says, great teams are not created with incentives. By the way, she created the slides for Netflix, which have been viewed over 100 million times on YouTube. Do you know how many people read a pitch deck? But it's been viewed 100 million times. That's how good her pitch deck for recruiting is. Go on YouTube, Patty McCord, Netflix pitch deck, and watch that video and see how she sets up to recruit people. Just unreal, this lady. So great teams are not created with incentives, procedures, or perks. You having a nap pod's not gonna create the greatest team, like Google said. You having a pinball machine in the back's not gonna create the greatest team. People who are adults want nothing more than to tackle a challenge and then communicating to them clearly and continuously about what that challenge is. We want responsibility, right? I come home the other day and tell my kid, hey, I tell Colton, he's 6 years old. Hey, Colton, JP is coming to my mechanic. Y'all may know JP from Apex. JP's coming to pick up my McLaren to change the oil at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Colton was up here with me. It was a Monday. We're driving home. I say, JP's coming to pick up. Please do me a favor and remind me when I get in from the gym in the morning to put the car out front with the key in the flower pot so he can come pick it up because I got to go to work early. Colton goes, I got you, Dad. I get home to the house. He's got a little toy McLaren. He goes, I'm going to sit this right by the front door where your gym bag is. And when you walk out of here in the morning, I want you to see this McLaren and it reminds you to go get yours and park it in the front. Thanks, Colton. That's a great idea. Give him a little bit of responsibility, man. He was so proud. I come in I didn't pull the car out because I leave the gym at 6 in the morning. I got liberal neighbors that like to sleep in and I don't want to argue with them. So if you crank a 720 at 6 in the morning, the whole neighborhood's waking up when it's mine, right? So I'm being a nice guy. I shouldn't be, but I am. I'm a nice guy and I don't want to crank it up that early. So I wait till I get in from the gym, then I'm going to move it. As soon as I walk through the door, Dad, you didn't put the car out. I put the car here. You grabbed your gym bag. You didn't move the McLaren to the front. JP's going to be angry at you. Like humans innately want responsibility. We want a task to be accomplished, right? If you're hiring A players, they want a talent. I want to be top producer. I want to create a marketing campaign that converts. I want to be able to hire people. I want to be able to train people. I want that result that you desire of me. That's what we're innately set to do. The HR's responsibility to recruit people, firing people. If HR can fire somebody, it's a lot easier than us. I don't know about y'all, but I'm very emotional. Why didn't you do your job, right? You're fired. That's me, right? HR's like, well, we're really happy that you gave us a chance, but, because you were doing blow in the bathroom, we're going to have to let you go. They're going to do it by the book, the right way, right? New hire intake. We have an employee handbook that they sign, and it tells you, hey, what our policies are, what our drug policies are to go with that, right? What our expectations are, how we conduct ourselves here, the professionalism that we request people abide by, what our core values are, what they can expect from this job, who their superior is, who they need to go to if there's problems, how to get in touch with HR if you don't have a refrigerator in your office, like all of these things, right? And then they do the new hire paperwork, okay? And employee handbooks, I don't have one up here, but that's been a big deal with us. We give them, the sales team gets a different handbook than the operations team. The marketing team will get a different handbook than the sales team. The events team, they get a different handbook. The payroll, you set the caliber of talent according to the caliber of pay your offer paired with your talent for vetting who belongs. One time I made a post on Facebook. I'm hiring an executive assistant. Pay is $30,000 a year. Some dude comments, why are you trying to keep your executive assistant poor? Well, you trying to hire part-time help? I thought $30,000 sounded like a lot of money to me, I never had a salaried job in my life. So I thought $30,000 a year was awfully generous at the time. This is 7-8 years ago. And he goes, bro, you're going to get the world's worst executive assistant at $30,000. You need to offer $60,000 to $70,000 a year if you want somebody with talent to come in and can manage the type of stuff that you're going to need, or you're going to just keep cycling through 30,000 people and you're going to end up losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in business. So if your ad on monster.com is $30,000 and then the person that shows up that's willing to take $30,000, you're like, why aren't you doing $1 million worth of work? You're like, well, you hired me for minimum wage. What do you expect? I used to flip burgers and now I'm here, Actually, burger flippers make a lot of money. You know what the manager of Payway makes? We were eating there the other day, make $170,000 a year. I'm like, man, had I known that as a young man, I wouldn't be here on stage. I'd be over there with the walk making $170,000 a year. Shoot. A players demand A player security and pay, right? If you got an A player, they're typically going to have a wife, a husband, kids, a mortgage, a car payment. They need security just as much as they need good money. You can offer somebody all the money in the world. Hey, I'm going to give you $1 million a year. If you're fired in 2 weeks, that's not security. Hey, man, this job pays really well, but I don't know how long you're going to be here, or how much of that really well payment you're going to be able to collect. So they need the combination of security and pay. That's something a lot of us miss. We're like, hey, man, I offered you all this money, but you're like, yeah, there's no guarantee of anything that's going to keep me in any longevity here, right? Find out what they care about and offer that to them as a benefit. Going back to the paying for school, if you're hiring parents, if parents are your ideal employee, paying for their kids' school is a great way to get longevity and security out of them. Because most of us wonder, hey man, what if my kid wants to become a lawyer? That's going to be expensive. What if my kid wants to become a teacher? That's going to be a 4-year degree. It's going to cost me $80,000, $100,000, maybe plus living, maybe plus dorm and room and board and, a car that I got to give them for graduation, whatever the case may be. So the corporate pyramid scheme, that's what we're basically doing. From the top down to upside down pyramid. The top down, figuring out. So what I would challenge you to do when you get out of here onto the plane and most of you flew here, you get on a plane, man, just take your notebooks out that you got and type CEO, COO, then start designing that, moneyball that, right? Like what positions do I need in my company? What is this, if I'm gonna hire a CMO, what do they really need to do? And then who are they really gonna be in charge of? And what am I gonna have to pay that person? And what's gonna be something that attracts the right person and then gets them to stick here and makes them unrecruitable somewhere else? Because nothing's worse than you hire a great sales guy, you spend 6 months training them, they become a star, and then your competition goes, hey, I'll pay you double. I lost Xandra that way. Xandra was a superstar, She came in here, she'd worked for Jesse Lee. Jesse Lee and her split up, then Jesse Lee passed away shortly after. Xandra comes in here, and Xandra was an organizer. I mean, you say something, she had notes, spreadsheet, everything else. She could repeat to you what you said. One day, Xandra comes in here, and she goes, they're friends of mine, sort of, because I'm still a little butthurt about this. But they come in and she said, Brad and Heidi Black from church offered me double my salary. I like to stay here. Can you match that? And I couldn't do it. I couldn't justify that for the position. So I had this amazing person that my team recruited away. But had I had some sort of benefit that would have mattered to her, had I known, like she's a parent, had I been like, hey, I can pay for your kid's school at some point in the future. I may not be able to match that, but I can put X amount of dollars back to pay for your kid's college in the future. Had I had been armed with that intelligence or something at that time, then I would have been or had I set that expectation up front, oh man, I appreciate double the income, but this guy's actually gonna take care of my kid if I stay here for the next 10 years, right? Because nothing's worse than that. By the way, that's a dick move, honestly. Double someone's salary. None of us can just afford to give one of our current employees double the salary. They're happy. They were a blue-collar baller sitting on the front row here. I was happy to see her. She was sitting out front. She's like, I really miss you guys. So we left on good terms. But again, my competition recruited this person from me. Nothing's worse than that. So you need to be able to figure out how to create an unrecruitable team too. Someone that, Grant Cardone trained that Jeremy guy, and at some point he wound up over here. It's unfortunate he didn't stay, but Grant probably poured a lot of time and training into that guy for him to go somewhere else. That sucks. We don't want to lose people that are good, so we need to think if we're going to hire A players, it's not just the pay that keeps them, but what are the benefits that it will allow them to stay with us long term? You guys get something from this? So I would encourage you, like I said, on your flight home tonight, if you drove here, whatever the case may be, just take a few minutes, whiteboard it out, put it on your spiral, and like some of the key pieces that you're missing. Because here's what I know: we gonna make a vision board with a jet and a Bentley and a Rolex and all this stuff, and then one day we're in a jet and a Bentley and a Rolex. So if we go put a vision board together with the positions we need in our company, that same thing's gonna happen for us. Right? That we need everybody in this room, they can have all that stuff if they want it. So now we need a vision of the people that are going to get us the next thing, the vision for the company that we want. So I appreciate you guys.